This is Brian, and welcome back to this commentary playthrough of Mega Man 3. I think we're up to the final boss now. Yeah, first I want to use the foil because I want to jump up to that platform over there. Because I think if I can get up there, I can avoid most of his shots. And plus I'm going to want to shoot this guy in the head with Shadow Blade. Could probably use other weapons too, but this is pretty effective. Alright, so now that that's gone, yeah, Wily comes here, takes over. I know the snakes will hurt him, but it doesn't seem like I can get to the point where I'm hitting him unless I jump off the platform. I guess you can, yeah, use that to get back up here, though. He's actually almost dead. Okay, well, that wasn't as bad as I thought it might be. It's hard to remember all of this. I did remember using those weapons, I just didn't remember exactly how to pull it off. I think that's it. The castle crumbling. Where's Dr. Wily? Oh no, too late. Of course Dr. Wily's gone this time, right? Epilogue. Mega Man, you've regained consciousness. Found you lying here when I arrived. Wonder who brought you here. Proto Man. I think that's what he's called. This whistle. It must have been Proto Man. I don't know enough about Mega Man lore to know who all these people are supposed to be. Luckman, Fireman, Bomb Man. Yeah, and they're telling you what they do, too. Or what their purpose was, I guess. Spaceman. Gutsman. Cutman. Hole. Housekeeping rope. And Mega Man. Former assistant to Dr. Wright. Thought it was Dr. Light. Proto Man. New robot prototype. Brother of Mega Man. What's that on the tree? The Proto Man's face in the sky over there. Alright, number 17, Needle Man. 18, Magnet Man. Not gonna try to pronounce the names. 19, Gemini Man. Number 20, Hard Man. Yeah, I can pronounce some of those names okay, probably, but I don't want to try all of them because some of them I would mess up. Top Man. 21, 22, Snake Man. 23, Spark Man. 24, Shadow Man. So let's let the credits roll. I know this is going to be a little bit of a shorter episode anyway. I just didn't... Oh, I thought it would be kind of long if I would have packed this in with the last episode, so I thought I'd split them up. So I'll just let the credits roll completely before I give my review. Yes, presented by Capcom. really good game company that's been home to several great games. Gotta love that old NES music too, right? For as much as for as simple as the system was, and as much as they were limited, they were able to do quite a bit with some of it. Not exactly sure how long this is just gonna roll. I might try pushing some buttons and see if it does anything. Kind of sounds like the music would have an end to it eventually here. I'm gonna hold off in just a minute yet to review. That sounds like it's cycling now, though. Okay, well, anyway, we're gonna move forward with the review. So always on these, I just give a short review. Write down some points that I thought were positives about the game and some that were negative. And just share my thoughts with you. The negatives are, sometimes it's just personal preference types of things for me, kind of like nitpicks. So I don't need that to mean that a game isn't good or something. It's just things that I felt like they could have done better. At least from my point of view. So the first good thing I want to talk about, we'll start out with the positives. This was a much bigger game than Mega Man 2, certainly bigger than Mega Man 1, so that added a lot of extra gameplay into it and made it more enjoyable for the fact that you had a lot more to come back to and added to replayability, I think. Now, they made the levels longer, they put more levels into it. Some of that could kind of increase the difficulty, I suppose. So, depending on how much you like hard games or not, that might have been something you didn't enjoy. But overall, I think it's better to add more content into a game, as long as it's good content and not just filler, which I think they did a pretty good job in this one, so I'll put that in the plus column. Next, I liked the way they did your upgrades with Rush in this one. The jet, the coil, the jet, or the jet, submarine. It was an evolution that they've been doing. Like in the other games, the previous ones, you had abilities that would let you do kind of the same types of things that the Rush would do, but they were just even better in this, I think. Like the submarine, that's kind of new. The jet was pretty awesome for some areas. Really took away the platforming that you'd have to do in some areas once you got it. So, especially after you've gotten through the first 8 Robot Master levels. If there was an area that looked like it had hard platforming, I wouldn't put it against you for using Rush yet to just go through them. I mean, I certainly did. But if you want to challenge yourself a little more, I suppose you could try not to use it. The next thing, and I've commented on it a couple of times through the playthrough, even here with the end, for such a simple type of setup in an old game like this, it's still just catchy, fun music in a lot of the levels. Maybe part of that's just nostalgia, because this was the first Mega Man game I had, I think, so I do have fond memories of some of the levels, the music from them. Either way, I think it was still pretty good on that. Next thing, I thought they did a better job in balancing the weaknesses of the Robot Masters in this game. Like, I know it can be kind of fun to just be able to take out a Robot Master in 2 hits, but I think they added to the challenge and difficulty a little bit by kind of backing off on that in this one. I don't think there were any of the abilities that were quite as broken as some of the ones in like Mega Man 2. Especially, like, I'm thinking Metal Blade for the most part. Once you got that, that was pretty much the one that I would just keep using in that game for the most part. It was easy to spam it. It didn't cost much. Shadow Blade was kind of like that in this one, but it was nerfed quite a bit. Mostly for the fact that it just didn't shoot nearly as far. The last thing I wanted to talk about for the positives was the upgrade of your ability and adding in the sliding. Now, it could take a little getting used to, especially when they were kind of expecting you to be able to do it to avoid damage in some areas. But still, I think it was a fun, good little mechanic that they added in. I don't remember exactly how it works in the upcoming games in the series, because I don't think I've actually even played 4 through 6 ever. 2 and 3 were the ones that I had when I was growing up, and 3 was the first one I had. So, yeah, I will play through those eventually, and we'll find out, but I would imagine sliding is something that they kept in all of them from here on out. Now, to get to some of the points that I thought were somewhat negative or that they could have done better. First thing is more of a preference, I suppose. But I feel like the difficulty in this game was a little bit high at times. Now, granted, you could continue and you didn't have to beat the whole game again, but some of the levels were pretty long and they weren't that generous with checkpoints all the time either, whereas they had been in previous games. I felt like a little better. So, I mean, if you enjoy a challenge and you like hard games, you'd probably consider that a positive, but yeah, I'm not that great at these, and I can still enjoy it, but just saying, maybe a difficulty selection would have been okay. Like, hell, I mean, I think Mega Man 2 did have difficulty selection, but this one didn't, so maybe that's the main difference. The next thing I wanted to touch on was, I know they always kind of do a little bit of this, but I think they might have went a little far in the recycling of bosses. Now, don't get me wrong, the way they put in the Dark Master levels after you beat the original 8, I appreciated that. The fact that they brought in all of the Robot Masters from Mega Man 2 again. That was kind of a novelty type of thing that worked okay. I don't have a problem with that so much. But when you did that, and you bring in that boss from Mega Man 1, I forgot what he's called, but the big guy that shifts his body from one side of the screen to the other, and you have to avoid him and shoot him in the eye. Yeah, well, maybe part of my problem with it is that I just didn't like that guy in the first place, and in this one it's even tougher because you can't use the pause trick to kill him. But, take that as you will, I guess. Next thing, and I kind of talked about how good it was, but I could almost see this being included in the negatives as well. But like I said, you could probably not use it. I'm talking about the jet, because it does make things pretty easy in some of the respects, as far as especially with the platforming. So, yeah, that's kind of, I could see it going either way. Like I said, you can always just not use it if you want to try to get through the areas with a little more skill and just get better at it. The last thing, which is I'm sure more of a just me thing, and those of you who have watched through the whole playthrough saw this from the very first episode, talking about that damn cat. The one in Top Man's level where you had the two of them actually, but the first one was the one that caused me quite a bit of problems because I didn't realize, like, I thought I tried to shoot him. Maybe I just hadn't jumped quite high enough, so I thought that I couldn't hit him from the ground where I was. I had to jump higher. I thought, like, you had to use Rust Coil to be able to jump up and hit him or something because I wasn't able to before. And trying to do that and dodging all of the stuff he was throwing out was a problem. So, yeah, obviously, if you've watched, you know that the way I took care of it was to just get Snake Man, which made him pretty easy. But you should just be able to hit him with the regular arm cannon, which I know now, but I didn't at the time. Didn't realize it, so... Anyway, that was my little aside on that, considering that a negative. That damn cat. Like I said, I don't know if anybody else ever had that issue or didn't like that enemy in particular. But I didn't. So with that, we're gonna call it here for Mega Man 3. Now, as far as an overall rating for the game, what would I give it? It's pretty good. It probably carries a little bit of a nostalgia for me, too. Mega Man games aren't like my favorite games by any means, but it'd still be somewhere around, you know, a 7 or 7.5, I suppose, out of 10 if I had to put it on that kind of scale. Maybe even a little higher, but I don't know. Those are just my thoughts. Go ahead and share yours in the comments if you have any. So, next for this time slot, I am going to go back to a Mario game. I had talked about at the end of Mario Land 2, I didn't know if I was going to go through Mega Man 3 and 4. I think I'm going to take a pause just shortly before I get into 4. I'm going to go back to Super Mario 2, Super Mario Bros. 2 for the NES, which is a little different. Not quite like the other Mario games. It's actually kind of modeled off of, I believe the game was called Doki Doki Panic. And I'm not sure which character I'm going to use. And I think you can select for different levels which character you use, but it actually matters in that game. Like they all have special abilities, but we'll get into that more when we start off the game tomorrow. So, anyway, tomorrow we'll pick up with Mario Bros. 2, and this will be it for Mega Man 3. Anyway, thanks for watching, and if you've been enjoying the content so far, please like, comment, and subscribe or follow, and we'll catch you next time.